The 2023 tactical game season has come to an end. We just finished up with Nationals. They're at Staccato Ranch in Florence, Texas. That was Blair and I's 7th event for this year. So we definitely were pretty active this year. We both started off with Meridian in Mississippi. Then I did the Sniper Challenge in Carbon Hill, Alabama. We both took place at the TAC 2 gun. I'm glad I got to do a Sniper Challenge before it kind of got shut down, and then Blair and I both were really happy we got to do the TAC 2 gun before it kind of went the same way. So hopefully those continue. They're a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be doing more precision style shooting for sure outside of the tactical games with bolt gun and gas gun for sure. Then we both competed in Iowa at the Brownells facility, which is always an amazing time there. Then we went and competed together at the team event in West Virginia. And from there we went to Nevada at the Prairie Fire. And then finally we competed at Nationals. Quite a bit to kind of go over all of that, but to sum it up, it was a good year. We definitely some positives. Got to go to some new places, got to try out the new gear. So the new Sons of Liberty Tactical Games Edition rifles, Blair and I both got to run those this year, and they both did really, really well. To include at Nationals when we shot out to 670 yards, we both got to run our Hayes custom Cobra pistols. Can't say enough good about those. At Nationals, I think my pistol shooting, that's probably the best pistol shooting I've had so far was at Nationals this year. I'm actually gonna do a gear breakdown video, a separate one for that, so it gets its own time and you can see that. I'll break down exactly what Blair and I use. This year had some highs, and we also had a little bit of lows. I ended up hurting myself in the Nevada event out at Prairie Fire. I was coming over the wall on the last event on day 1, and I rolled my ankle pretty bad. I've been rolling my right ankle a lot since I was in high school. I first heard it in wrestling, and I heard it a couple more times in high school on sports. I heard it a bunch while I was in the Marines, and I've heard it a bunch since then, and I just kind of always doctored it up and moved on and moved forward. It felt a little bit worse than it had in the past, so it was recommended that I go and get it checked out. Went and got an MRI. Turns out I heard it pretty good. So I had actually torn 2 ligaments when I came down, and loosened up the other ligaments a little bit more because every time you hurt your ligaments, they just stretch out. So they were pretty stretched out, and so I knew going into Nationals it wasn't going to be the greatest. My training going from Nevada to Nationals was pretty much cut short. I didn't really get to do as much as I wanted to, so I just did the best I could with what I had, and I knew I was going to need to shoot my butt off. And so luckily I had good gear to do that with. I tried to hang in there as best I could physically, but I mean, when you got competition at Nationals, I mean, everyone's going all out. There's no room for error. Going through Nationals, day 1 for me, it was really weird because I was separated from Blair. There was 2 main groups for Nationals. And the elites, and so male and female elites, and 50 masters, and there might have been some masters women, I'm not sure. I just know for a sure fact elites and 50s masters were in one group, and I was in the 40s Masters we had some teams, and we had female Masters, and I think we had intermediate. I believe so. Anyways, there was 2 locations. You had Reveille Peak Ranch, which is where my group started with, and then you had the trail run. And the trail run was where you had the ruck run and all that. So my day started on the long range stage, which was like the shooting floater. You had a certain amount of time to, I believe it was 140 seconds, and you had 11 targets, and they started at 200 and they went out to 670, varying sizes. I think they kept the sizes to about 3 to 4 MOA, so it wasn't, they didn't get too crazy with the target size. Got the 3rd fastest time out of our group. Moved on to the 2-gun stage, which was the creek run, and that was a really fun stage. That was something that they incorporated a new target in there, was a rifle spinner. I'd never shot a rifle spinner before, so last year at Nationals I shot a Texas Star for the first time. So this year I shot a rifle spinner for the first time. So seems to be kind of like a common theme to where we're trying new things at Nationals for the first time. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it. So on that 2-gun stage, you start at like a VTAC barricade, and you had to engage, I think it was 4 pieces of steel, 4 or 5, and then you would drop your mag, and there was a cardboard IPSC target down, I think it was right around 90 yards, and you had to take a headshot. So that was your clearing shot, so then you would sling your rifle. From there, you would move on and you did the pistol stage, or the pistol portion of the stage. And you went through a wooded area, and there was a combination of paper targets and steel targets. On that creek stage, when you went to start your pistol portion, I took off a little too fast. I forgot that I had a hurt ankle, and I definitely strained it a little bit, and I started hobbling through the course on that one a little bit, going through the wooded area. When you come out from the wooded area, then you opened up in a berm, and it had just a little bit of a trench in it, and you had 5 or 6 steel targets. And again, when you finished shooting all those white steel targets, you would drop your pistol mag, and they had a red stop plate, and that was your clearing shot for your pistol. So when you were done, you would holster your pistol, and then you would load your rifle again. And on a VTAC barricade, you would engage the rifle spinner, which I think it was like 75 to 85 yards, somewhere in there. I did pretty good on it. I basically I took the advice from others, and I just incorporated it as the best I could. And it worked out. So had a plan. The biggest thing that I've learned with action shooting stages, talking to people like Jared Halbert, James Gill, and plenty more. I mean, I hate saying names because I feel like I always forget people who help me. Like, and I don't want to make it feel like I don't want to give them shout outs, but all the people that always help Blair and I, they have really good advice. And at the basis of everything is that you need to have a plan. Have a plan and execute that plan. The killer to any plan is to change it at the last minute. It's okay to massage your plan, but once you have a plan and you know that's it, you stick with it and you don't change it no matter what. You just go through for better or worse. So I got a stage plan, figured it out, executed, and it worked pretty good. So from there, my group moved to the O course. You were in groups of 2. So you would take off and you would attack the obstacle course. Again, certain things didn't feel great on the ankle, so I I didn't push it as hard as I could have, but I wanted to try to give it the best effort as I could. There was a few jumping over the wall, like that initial jump, that definitely hurt the ankle quite a bit, loading and jumping. And then there was a few stages where just there's some weird articulation of my ankle. It just didn't feel good, but you don't really feel it unless it's really bad. You know, I wouldn't feel it as soon as they said 3, 2, 1, go. A lot of the pain would shut off until at the end, and then I would feel at the end, except for the ruck. I felt that just about every step on the ruck for every 4 miles. And then our group had to drive about an hour and 10 minutes away to go to the trailhead where we ended up doing the ruck run. So elite divisions and masters 40, and I don't know if there was anyone else, but I can only speak for that because that was the ones I knew for sure. We had rucks. So I had a 30-pound ruck, and so you started on the trailhead and you actually were on pavement, and you went down and up a little bit, and then you found the trailhead entrance and you went in, and it was all just a trail for the most part. It wasn't anything too technical. It was all, I mean, you crossed a couple creeks. They had some chains that allowed you to hold on, which I was very grateful for because I was kind of nervous. I tripped a couple times in the very beginning. There's a lot of steps. I think there was over 2,700 steps, and I forget the elevation change. Someone told me, I think they said it was something like 800 feet, but I don't know. I'd have to go and double check that to find out exactly what the elevation change was. But definitely there was over 2,700 steps. 100% can vouch for that. So I changed out my footwear for mid-rise and give me a little bit more ankle support, so I didn't hurt my ankle anymore. And had some guys in my division that knew I was hurt, so they were helping me out. So I really appreciate, like Mike Salduti, Kirk. He came back and kind of ran in with me, and everyone that gave me some words of encouragement. I really appreciate it. That was a pretty rough moment. So made it through that. So again, our first day wrap up was the long range shooting, the 2-gun stage, the O course, and then the ruck run. Moving into day 2, everyone went to the new facility that Staccato built called the Staccato Ranch in Florence, Texas. Last year we had nationals at the Texas Shooting Academy, which is in Florence, Texas. This is down the road, maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes from there, somewhere like that. We started with the interval stage version 3, and that was, for us, we had a 200-pound sandbag that we had to roll end over end down to set line, and then you would do your shooting portion, and then you had to roll the sandbag back to where you started and had to cross a seam. It was a line in the concrete, like a seam line. And so this was kind of like an EMOM workout where you had 4 rounds and you had a time to do your work and shooting, and then you had a built-in rest period, and then you would start over. So this one was the first stage that we did, and it was the beginning of a very burpee-ish weekend. So after you were done with the work, the shooting and the work, you could opt to do burpees at the end for points, because this was a points only stage. I heard the podcast that Nick was saying he didn't factor in the concrete that we were rolling the bags on, and he was expecting it to be a little bit harder because we were finishing these stages well under the time caps, and so we had lots of time, and so that meant lots of burpees. I mean, you had to shoot well. If you shot like garbage, then you weren't going to do well, but it really came down to how many burpees you were able to do. And then moving on to the next stage we had was we went to the rope climb stage, which I really enjoyed. I was pretty excited for that one. So that one was the only stage that we did on day 2, Saturday, that wasn't a points only stage. So you had work and shooting, and so that was the one where if you miss, that's a penalty, which is the way it normally works. You had a 15-minute time cap, and you had to do 10 rounds. So the way it was set up is you started at I think it was close to your shooting position, and all your mags are staged by the ropes. You started with one magazine on you as a rifle mag, and what you did is on 3, 2, 1, go, you would run to the rope. You would climb the rope. There's a crossbar at the top. You had to top the bar. I think it's 15 feet. So you touch the top of the crossbar. Then you come down, and then you would go to the line, and you would shoot off a tank trap. So the different positions you would shoot rifle off the tank trap, once you shoot in a position, that position was dead, and you could not shoot that same position again. So 2 of them were going to be prone. 2 of them were going to be on the upper legs. One of them you had to actually lay across it. We called it the messed up position, if you were there when we were planning for it. So that was rifle. And you would switch, you would alternate between rounds, rifle, pistol, so you did 5 rounds of each. Pistol was kneeling for all of it. So basically the weapon scheme was pretty simple. You started with the rifle mag, rope climb, came back, shot, went back, did a rope climb, grab a pistol mag, go back and shoot pistol, rope climb, rifle, back and forth until you were done. Our group finished pretty fast. In the 8s, I think it was. I think somebody actually finished like 7 minutes, something like that, in that stage. So, yeah, there was a 15-minute time cap, and then we ended up finishing pretty quick. But that one, it paid to finish quick because it was for points plus penalties. So if you shot well and you moved well, then you were rewarded for that. So I tried out the charged Maven trail shoes on that one, and they did really good. If you've never climbed a rope in like different types of shoes, a rope will straight up eat your shoes up. So if you climb it in running shoes, those soles are super soft, and they'll just eat them up. They'll tear them up and rip them to shreds. I used to use Ultra shoes, and great for moving around, wide toe box, but ropes completely eat them up. So back when we used to climb ropes a lot in 2019 and 2020, I would have to almost replace shoes. If they made it through 2 events with rope climbs, that was doing pretty good. For the most part, they would get chewed up pretty bad. But kudos to the new Under Armour Maven trail shoes, because they held up really, really well. The traction on them is really, really strong, and they had a great wide toe box, which if you have wide feet like I do, that's super hard to find stuff. So I was very happy to find those from Under Armour. Our next stage after that was the chipper stage, and how that one went was a points only stage again. So burpees, pretty much synonymous with points that weekend. By the time we made it to there, the barricade prop was taken out because something broke. So we didn't get to utilize the yoke, which had like a barricade thing where you had to open it up with a tool. So we didn't get to do that. You would go straight into, you would grab a sandbag, and you did 12. I think everything was sets of 12. So you did 12 burpee bag over, body over, a plyo box. And you did 12 of those to start. And then you would grab one set of mags there. And from there you move to your shooting position. And so you shot pistol. So the whole year, this year, I pretty much, you could guarantee at every event that at least I went to, you did single hand shooting while holding a bag. And so we did it again on this stage. And from there you moved to, you had to go to a different part of the stage where you had a kettlebell bag, and you had to toss it 5 yards. There was, I guess it was, there was 2 sticks, and you had to get the bag over that each time. So you had to do that 12 times, and then you would grab your bag again, you'd go over and you would shoot. The rifle shooting was through ports, so you had different positions and ports. So you had 2 45s and a 90. So you're doing that each time. Your third physical iteration on the chipper was you had to do sandbag cleans moving down. And so there were these green flags set up, and you had to go all the way down, and you started there. So you did one. So the sandbag had to touch the ground, and then it had to get on your back, and then you could move forward. So when you got to the next flag, you would do the bag had to touch, come back on your shoulders, and when you got to the end, you had to do a sandbag clean. And then you had to turn around, but before you could go back, you had to do another sandbag clean. So yeah, there was 3 flags because you ended up doing 4 down. So anyways, so after that, then you would do your final shooting iteration. If you had time left over, you would go back to where you started, and you would do bag over, body over, burpees over the box. We finished our shooting in our, again, I think that was a 15-minute stage, and I think we had 6 minutes left to do burpees. I'm gonna pause and let that sink in. 6 minutes. Still not over it.
But did you die?
See, anyways, so that was again another points only burpee stage. So like again, you had to shoot well, but it really came down to the burpees. The burpees were the deciding factor on that one. So yep, 6 minutes of burpees on that one. Our last stage on Saturday was the scrambler. 3 mags of 4, and you had 3 targets. They were the furthest was, I think it was like 10 to 15 yards apart, something like that. And you had 4 shooting positions, and how it worked is you start on, I think it was 10 and 20 yards is the distances that you would shoot at. So you would start at the 20, and on the beep you would draw from the holster, fire 2 rounds, and so you had 3 targets on the backdrop, right? You had 1, 2, 3, and your first shots while on the stick, you would fire on the far left target, and you had to engage the middle target next before you reach the stick, before you step foot on the stick. What I did is I shot my first 2. I took 1 step off the stick, and I engaged the middle target, and then I did my reload on the move to the second firing position. Got to the stick, fired on the far right target, and then you run diagonally to the 10-yard spot, and you engage 2 rounds on that target. Again, you had to do another mag change, and you could either shoot on the move or you could run down. What I did is I ran down to the stick but not on the stick, engage the middle target, and then you would step over and engage the right target. I tried to push the pace a little bit on that because I got buried pretty deep on the burpees, so I had a lot of ground to make up, and so I pushed the pace on it, and I shot a really good time for me. I couldn't move as fast as I wanted, so I knew I was also going to have to try and make it work. I got like a 17:05 or something, which is an okay time. And then I ended up getting a mic at the end, which pushed me. I think that was like a 5-second penalty, so it basically just pushed me at the bottom, which is on me. So I should have shot better. I was a little too geeked up. And that was it for day two. Sorry, Saturday. Everyone had 3 stages on Sunday, and then the elite divisions had the possibility of doing a 4th stage if you're the top 5. So my group started with the weave. So it was a no shooting event, no shooting stage. It was the physical floater, and we had an 80-pound sandbag on the rig, the rope climbing rig. There was a top bar, a middle bar, and a low bar. The athlete would follow the bag. The first was you would get the bag over the top bar and you would go over. The bag would go through the middle. You would go through the middle, and then the bag would go under and you would go under, and that's 1. When the bag went over, you got a point. When you went over, you got a point. So 1 full completion was a possibility of 6 points. Technique really was everything for this. Efficiency of movement and stamina and just being able to keep going. It was for 6 minutes. I did not have the most efficient movements for going under the bottom bar. Looking back on it, I didn't have... Well, I came up with a plan and I thought it was going to work. It didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but that's life. So you live and you learn and you adjust on them from there on out. So mistakes are gonna happen. It's really how you deal with them that matters, right? So if you just get mad and you don't learn from it, then it's bad. But if you can learn from it and move on and help others, then so be it. And then we moved on to Tegrity Farms. So Tegrity Farms was the wheelbarrow stage. And again, that was the only stage on Sunday that was not a points only stage. And you're moving on concrete, so it wasn't that bad. Versus moving in sand or gravel or mud, whatever. So concrete was pretty advantageous to the athlete. So the way it started is that you would jump over the table and you would go do your first shooting iteration. And then you would jump back over the table and you loaded your bags, which were on the table, onto your wheelbarrow. And then you took your wheelbarrow to the bay next to ours, and then you would unload all the bags on top of the table, take your wheelbarrow around that table, load them back on, and go back. When you got back to your starting position, you would unload all the bags back onto the table, hop over the table, do your shooting. And this shooting was, you had a frame, and you had to stay inside that frame for rifle and pistol. And so it was a unique experience. I liked that one. It was good. We didn't have anything too heavy out there. That was the heaviest thing we saw. There was 2 portions of work and there was 3 rounds of shooting. And so again, we finished pretty fast. I think we were given 15 minutes for these things, and we all finished them pretty fast. I think we got in the 7s on that one, 7s or 8s again. So we cut it in half. Moving on from there was the last stage for us, and that was the bike. So that was kind of like a revisit from Nevada, which we had. In Nevada, we had a C2 bike, and they took the seat off, and you had to be standing up the whole time. So this time it was a Rogue Echo bike, and thankfully they didn't take the seat away. And you had a minute to get as many calories as you could on the bike, and then you had 1 minute to shoot. And I think it was like a 90-yard target, something like that, 90-ish. And then you had a minute of rest, and you did that 4 times. And you had a wooden booth that you could shoot any way you wanted to in it. I opted to go prone. I've always been told if you can go prone, you go prone. It's the more stable position, but due to what was going on, prone wasn't necessarily the best position. So again, you live and you learn. couple people had tried to tell me there was another way to do it, and I just didn't have time to really test it out, to feel it out. So I just went with prone. Guys that were in my heat, they phenomenal guys. In fact, the top 3 people in my division were all in my heat. Just phenomenal athletes and shooters. So Kirk Holmer, who ended up getting first, Clint Gower, he got second, Jason Deal got third, Dale Lavasser, just, you know, couldn't ask for better people to be in my heat. We had a mishap with our group, and everyone was super professional about it. Everyone was, you know, hey, we're gonna take care of this. No one lost their cool, no one got angry. Everyone was very, very adult about it, and I very much so appreciated that, because I've seen some people really lose their professionalism, I guess is the best way to say it. And so I really appreciated, if nothing else, I appreciated just the professionalism of those men that were in my group, stand-up people. So really looking forward to seeing them again next year. Hopefully I'll be healthier and I'll give them a better run for their money. Blair actually made it to the top 5 in the elite, and so she got to do the final event, which was the Inman. And the Inman is a pretty famous workout in the tactical games. So you have 3 sandbags, and the rep scheme is 5, 3, and 1, and the sandbags get heavier as the rep scheme gets lower. So your lightest sandbag's at the 5, your middle sandbag is at the 3, and then your heaviest is at 1. So for her, she had a 100-pound sandbag that she had to move 5 times, a 150-pound sandbag to move 3 times, and a 200-pound sandbag to move once. And they had 3 rounds? It was either 3 or 4 rounds, I can't remember. So, and then the guys' sandbags were 150, 200, and 250. My friend Jared made it to the top 5 in that, and got to see him compete there. It's always good to see your friends do well and compete. The positives, I really liked the new challenges they brought out. The shooting, I think, was pretty inventive. You know, it's not just physical challenges. Like, so Nick said in his podcast, you know, last year they had a 300-pound sandbag. Well, this year he wanted to have a shooting thing that would challenge that 300-pound sandbag. What is it? It was a rifle spinner. So I really enjoyed the technical shooting go up. The venue was really nice at Staccato. It was a nice facility. Throughout the year, you kind of look at how you train for the tactical games, and in the tactical games is almost always to make it even. And so you stay away from specialists in tactical games. Is you test all modalities. You test strength, you test cardio, and you test endurance, and you test shooting, of course. So it didn't feel like it was all tested over the weekend. It felt like it was more of a burpee weekend. You know, normally in a 2-day weekend, you're gonna have, you know, points only stages, but not more than 1. So the fact that we had we reversed it. So we only had 1 stage where misses counted, and it kind of really changed the whole weekend. And so the weekend really came down to how many burpees you could do. If I had a negative to say, I didn't care for that. I wish that would have been different. Would have liked to have seen the tactical games modalities, how it is that you have a cardio, an endurance, and a strength. And so hopefully next year that comes back, because we had that at all the regional events. It just didn't happen at nationals. So I really want to thank my sponsors that you know, trusted me to represent their brand. Sons of Liberty, Gunworks. You know, Mike, thanks for supporting Blair and I. Thank you, Aaron and Ben, for allowing Blair and I to represent Hayes Custom Guns with your new Cobra line. Again, I'll go more in depth in another video for all this, but just know the Cobra, that is a truly custom gun. That's a custom built gun, and at the price point you get it at, it's untouchable from other brands. So the quality of care and craftsmanship and customer service that you get from Hayes Custom, it's unbeatable for what you get. Under Armour, thank you, Chris, for allowing Blair and I again to be on the Under Armour tactical team. It has been an absolute honor and a privilege to represent Under Armour being the title sponsor for the tactical games. Safariland, thank you for again your fantastic gear for holsters and continued support. But this is kind of a long video, but again, it's the end of the year wrap up, so there's going to be a lot of information. So again, I am going to have surgery on my ankle, and so that will allow some more time for me to get back into making video content. So I have reloading videos ready to go. I just got hit by life, and I am going to bounce back, and I'm going to get back into the putting out more content for everyone. So I know there was quite a few people asking about the reloading videos. I'm going to get back to those. I'm going to finish those up, keep moving forward. And then, as always, if you ever want to know anything or if you have any information, just hit me up and we'll definitely get you the information you need. As always, just thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. Tell everyone to come on in and watch the videos. And until then, we'll see you at the range. We'll see you next year.